Many people nowadays are indebting themselves with over $80,000 in student loans for a degree that essentially holds no value. All because we were sold this idea that college should be used to quote unquote find yourself. And it's not even education anymore, it's straight up indoctrination. We told a young generation of 14-year-olds to forget the actual degree they're going for and just to go without pushing back at all, without asking them to research what the median income is for someone in that field or degree, what exact job they're thinking of getting into, the growth rate of that field, and how many jobs are actually available compared to how many people graduate each year with that same degree, and so on. We were told, follow your passion and the money will follow, which yes, I agree with that statement. But I don't think that's advice anyone should follow when it's backed by $80,000 in student loans. There are other ways to follow your passion that don't require $80,000 of debt by the time you're 22. Just to get a piece of paper that some schools signed off to prove you're somehow competent. All while you barely remember anything from any class. Because in all honesty, a degree is just a representation of memory retention, not actual abstract thinking of problem solving or real competence. If anyone from Gen X or older generations is watching, please tell me. Were there always this many nonsensical degrees out there? Things like drama, arts, communications, photography, gender studies, and so on. I'm all for people trying to build a career around their art or passion, but you don't need to go to college to make that happen anymore. I'm sure the top 10 actors in the world probably didn't go get some degree in acting. Same goes for a lot of people in any form of arts. That's like wanting to become a rapper and going to school to become one, rather than creating music and networking. For people who are interested in those type of careers, they're better off spending $15,000 to $20,000 moving to a city with dense opportunity in their field, or staying where they're at and spending a few hundred to a few $1,000s on coaching or niche schools actually designed to teach them that particular skill, paying for real targeted instructions. You don't need to pay $1,000 to get a few random credits from a food culture class that has nothing to do with the career you're looking to pursue. Plus, with all these useless degrees flooding the market, it's significantly diminished the value of college degrees in general. Employers are starting to realize that a lot of students who graduated can't actually do the job they were hired for. But they can tell you what the periodic table is, even though it has nothing to do with their major. And of course, with the rise of AI and all the chaos that's broken out in universities because of it, more than ever, a college degree means nothing. Degrees were already starting to lose value because schools stopped teaching people how to think. We went from teaching young adults how to make decisions, solve problems, and build communities, to strictly teaching them what to think and not how to think. Meanwhile, these schools are getting billions in donations from political parties to push their own agendas, making sure that the next wave of graduates are indoctrinated and programmed to vote the way that they want. And honestly, I don't want this to come off as pessimistic, but a part of me honestly wants the education system to collapse. Because for far too long, we followed this if it's not broke, don't fix it model. Now, we finally have a chance to rebuild something better. If you look at pictures of almost any field 100 years ago, or even just 50, you can see how much has changed. But the school system still looks the same. A classroom from 60 years ago looks almost identical to one today. Bunch of kids staring at a professor passively absorbing. AI showed us that no one actually cares about the curriculum. Everyone is just trying to rush their way through their degree. And I'll be honest, it's kind of satisfying to see these white-collar, pretentious, nepotistic Ivy League graduates scramble for jobs. Yet, it's sad to see people struggle, but it's also karmic retribution at its finest. Because for the longest time, these hair-gelled, arrogant brats looked down on the people in the trades. HVAC, electricians, plumbers, truckers, mechanics, you name it. The people who actually contribute something to the GDP of this country. Not editorial writers sitting in a cushy office job paid by some corporate publisher to push nonsense onto the rest of us. Remember in schools when teachers used to say things along the lines of, get good grades or you'll end up becoming a plumber or work at McDonald's? It's now quite funny how McDonald's starts people at $18 to $20 an hour in some areas. That's more than the entry-level salary for a lot of bachelor degree holders currently. And the trades, they're booming. A few years ago, I worked at a grocery store. I needed the extra income to help pay for my finance degree, which I've switched over to accounting now. I worked with a 17-year-old kid who was about to graduate high school. He told me he planned to go straight into the trades after graduation and how his parents weren't too happy with that decision. They wanted him to go the college route instead. I lost contact with him, but if I had to guess, I'm sure he's out there making bank compared to his classmates. It's good to see that for once, the trades, the real backbone of this country, are finally getting the attention that they deserve and respect. They're the future now, not the 4-year dance degree lunatics, but the late 20s HVAC tech who starts his own company and gets to charge whatever he wants. With all that being said, the pendulum is finally swinging. We're entering a time where credentials alone don't mean much. That degree you got from some big name university, it doesn't hold up against a real portfolio, proof of concept, or a solid network. And I don't mean to demonize every degree. We should all have respect for the people who are going after STEM degrees, because those take real discipline. They choose something difficult and useful when they could have easily taken a way out and grabbed some low-hanging fruit degree instead. We don't live in a society anymore where it costs $80,000 just to prove you're competent. The most competent people aren't in lecture halls anymore. They're out here building, fixing, welding, coding, creating, accounting, and so on. So, if you got any nieces, kids, or anyone about to enter college or just enroll, please sit them down. Help them figure out what they actually want. Help them walk through their degree path, not by telling them what to do, but by asking the right questions that can get them to where they want to be.